The Galactic Council's archive room was dimly lit, filled with data crystals that hadn't been accessed in millennia. I ran my 3 fingers over the dusty surface of one particular container marked Earth Extinction Protocol 773BB. The weight of what I was about to uncover pressed against my thoracic cavity. This wasn't just routine archival work. This was potentially uncovering one of our civilization's greatest failures. "Are you sure about this, Archivist Narvik?" my assistant Vrel asked, her luminescent eyes flickering with concern. "The Council explicitly classified this mission as completed." "The annual scans showed biological activity continuing on the planet," I replied. "After all these cycles, I want to know what went wrong." I inserted the crystal into the reader. Holographic images sprang to life, ancient recordings from our ancestors who had engineered what they believed would be the perfect solution to the human problem. High Commander Brivek appeared in the projection, his tentacled appendages gesturing at the image of a small blue planet. His carapace was polished to a shine that denoted his high rank, his 4 eyes focused with the intensity that had made him legendary among our kind. "Humans," he began, his voice dripping with disdain, "are the most destructive species we have encountered in our 50,000 cycles of exploration. They poison their waters, destroy their forests, and eradicate other species at an unprecedented rate. Our predictive models show they will develop interstellar travel within 500 cycles. If they spread beyond their world, countless ecosystems will be devastated." The recording showed the council members murmuring in agreement. I recognized many of the ancient dignitaries. Councillor Biv with her characteristic purple markings. Elder Krental, whose theories on non-inference had shaped our policies for generations. Humans were deemed dangerous, not because they were particularly intelligent or strong compared to other species we monitored, but because of their relentless drive to conquer and consume. Their brief history was marred with violence against their own kind, and every other species unfortunate enough to share their planet. "Direct intervention would violate our non-inference protocols," the council elder stated, his voice crackling through time. "What do you propose instead?" Brivik's upper mouth formed what our species considered a smile. "We have engineered the perfect predator based on one of their own native species, the wolf. Enhanced intelligence, increased pack coordination, and specialized adaptations to counter human weapons and structures." The hologram shifted to show sleek gray creatures with unnaturally intelligent eyes. I paused the recording to study them more closely. They resembled natural earth wolves, but with subtle differences: thicker skulls that could withstand primitive human weapons, reinforced leg tendons for greater speed and endurance, enlarged brain capacity, especially in regions responsible for strategic thinking and cooperation. "These aren't just predators," I muttered to Vrel. "They're biological weapons." "That was common practice before the ethical revisions," Vrel responded, her voice neutral but her eye flickers betraying discomfort. I resumed the recording. "We will release 5,000 of these enhanced predators across their continents." Brivik continued, "Within a generation, humans will be reduced to small, scattered populations. Within 5 generations, they will be extinct. The wolves will then naturally decline without their primary prey, returning balance to the planet." The council approved the plan unanimously. It was considered elegant, requiring minimal interference while allowing Earth's biosphere to recover naturally once humans were gone. The recording shifted to implementation footage. Our ships, operating under stealth protocols, deployed the enhanced wolves across Earth's wilderness regions. The northern territories of multiple continents, densely forested and sparsely populated by humans, served as the primary release zones. The creatures moved with purpose immediately upon release, already organizing into complex hunting formations that no natural predator could achieve. "Look at their coordination," Vrel noted. "The pack leaders are already designating hunting territories and establishing dominance hierarchies optimized for human predation." "Operation successful," Brivik reported in what appeared to be the final entry. We will return in 100 cycles to confirm extinction and remove any remaining enhanced predators to prevent ecosystem imbalance. But they never returned. The recording ended abruptly, leaving us staring at a blank projection field. "What happened next?" Vrel asked. "The Great Collapse," I said grimly. Just 20 cycles after this recording, the Vrexian Empire launched their surprise attack on our core worlds. Millions died. Our civilization nearly fell. For thousands of cycles afterward, our species focused on rebuilding, defending, and eventually reclaiming our position in the galaxy. Distant Earth was forgotten, classified as a completed mission and filed away. I closed the hologram and stood, my decision made. Inform the Council I am exercising my authority as senior archivist to investigate an incomplete historical record. Prepare a retrieval ship. Vrel's posture stiffened. The Council may not approve an unscheduled expedition to a supposedly extinct world. Then we don't give them time to disapprove. This is within my authority. Earth was never confirmed extinct. The mission was never properly concluded. If questioned, that will be my defense. My assistant studied me for a long moment before her bioluminescent patterns shifted to indicate acceptance. The expedition ship can be ready in 3 rotations. Are you certain you wish to lead this personally? I closed the crystal case with a decisive click. Yes. Whatever happened on Earth, we need to know. It could have implications for our current expansion efforts. If the humans survived our ancestors' attempt to wipe them out, we need to understand how. 3 rotations later, I stood on the bridge of the Seek Light, a sleek exploration vessel officially logged for a routine survey of uninhabited systems. Vrel had managed to keep our true destination classified through creative bureaucratic maneuvering. We had a minimal crew, just 6 specialists besides ourselves, none of whom knew our actual mission until we were safely beyond the central systems. "Approaching fold space entry point," announced Levy, our navigator. Her manipulator appendages danced across the control surfaces with practiced precision. "Proceed," I ordered, settling into the command chair. "Standard observation protocols upon arrival. Full stealth mode engagement." The stars outside the viewport stretched and twisted as our ship slipped into fold space. During the journey, I reviewed all available data on Earth and humans from our archives. Most of it was ancient: cultural studies, biological assessments, anthropological reports, all dating from before the extinction operation. Humans had been fascinating in their contradictions. They developed medicines to save lives while building weapons that could end them by the millions. They wrote poetry about their planet's beauty while systematically destroying its ecosystems for short-term gain. But what struck me most was their adaptability. Humans had spread to every corner of their world, surviving in environments from frozen tundras to scorching deserts. When faced with challenges, they innovated. When threatened, they cooperated, at least temporarily. Our ancestors had been right to fear their potential spread into the galaxy. But had they been right about the solution? "Emerging from fold space in 30 time units," Levith announced. I braced myself mentally. What would we find? A wild, recovered planet with the enhanced wolves perhaps evolved into the dominant species? Or just another dead world, evidence of our ancestors' successful genocide? The fold space distortion cleared, and Earth's solar system appeared before us. We emerged near the orbit of their moon, a strategic position that allowed immediate observation while maintaining a safe distance. What I saw made my respiratory sacs constrict. Lights, thousands of lights on the night side of the planet, artificial structures visible even from orbit, cities that spanned entire coastlines, engineered environments visible from space, and in near space around the planet, satellites, space stations, and the unmistakable energy signatures of primitive interstellar engines. "Impossible," Vrel whispered beside me. "The extinction protocol failed completely." "Maximum scan resolution," I ordered, my voice steadier than I felt. "Full spectrum analysis, and maintain absolute stealth protocols." Our sensor specialist, Clarke, worked quickly, her appendages trembling slightly with either excitement or fear. "Results incoming, Archivist," she reported after several tense moments. "Human population approximately 11 billion. Technological level early interstellar phase. They have established multiple settlements on their moon and neighboring planet. Energy usage suggests they are approximately 200 cycles from achieving stable fold space technology." I absorbed this information in stunned silence. Not only had the humans survived, but they had thrived. They were on the cusp of joining the galactic community, precisely the outcome our ancestors had sought to prevent. "And what of the enhanced wolves?" I asked. "Any trace of them?" Narkit hesitated. "That's peculiar, Archivist. I'm detecting canid life forms throughout human settlements, millions of them, genetically related to our enhanced wolves, but changed." "Changed how?" "Significant morphological and likely neurological variations. Thousands of distinct genetic subtypes, all apparently living in close proximity to humans. Most appear to be smaller than our original design specifications." I considered our options. Surveillance from orbit wouldn't provide the answers I needed. A decision crystallized in my mind. "Prepare 2 stealth pods for surface observation. Vrel and I will conduct direct reconnaissance." My declaration was met with shocked silence from the crew. "Archivist," our security officer finally spoke, "planetary incursion violates at least 7 Council protocols for potentially inhabited worlds." "I'm well aware, security officer," I replied. "Log your objection. The responsibility is mine alone." We landed in a region called northern Minnesota according to our linguistic databases. Dense forest provided ample cover for our small observation craft, its adaptive camouflage rendering it nearly invisible among the trees. Vrel and I, encased in our environmental suits that mimicked large earth conifers, watched in stunned silence as a human female jogged along a forest trail. Beside her ran one of our wolves, or rather, what our wolves had become. The creature was smaller than the original design, with floppy ears and a wagging tail. Its coat was a mixture of colors never seen in our engineered predators. It wore a collar with a small device attached. Most striking was its behavior, playful, attentive to the human, showing no signs of predatory intent. "The humans should have been eliminated," Vrel said, her voice barely audible through her suit's communicator. "Our ancestors engineered the perfect predator." The human stopped running, pulled out a small object from her pocket, and threw it. The wolf descended, chased after it joyfully, retrieved it, and brought it back to the human, who rewarded it with physical affection, rubbing its head and speaking to it in encouraging tones. "Not a predator," I replied, fascination overriding my disbelief. "A companion." We observed for hours as more humans passed by with their canid companions. Some resembled our original wolves more closely, while others had been modified so extensively they barely looked related. Tiny creatures with flattened faces, massive ones with heavy coats, sleek racing breeds built for speed. As darkness fell, we retreated to our pod to analyze the day's observations. "We need to understand what happened," I said, reviewing the data we'd collected. "How did humans transform our perfect predators into these? Perhaps we should access their information networks," Vrel suggested. "Their data transmission signatures suggest extensive digital archives." It was a risky move that would require dropping certain stealth protocols, but I approved it. Our sophisticated decryption systems quickly gained access to what humans called the Internet, a primitive but extensive information-sharing network. What we discovered over the next several hours rewrote my understanding of species interaction and evolutionary pressure. Our wolves had indeed been formidable predators initially. Historical records showed increased wolf attacks on human settlements shortly after our ancestors' intervention, with patterns of aggression and tactical coordination never before seen in natural wolves. Human casualties mounted. Small, isolated communities were particularly vulnerable, but humans proved more resilient and adaptable than our ancestors had anticipated. Instead of simply running or fighting as individuals, humans formed larger cooperative groups specifically to counter the wolf threat. They studied the wolves' behaviors, adapted their strategies, and developed specialized weapons and traps. Most surprisingly, some groups began to capture wolf pups. "They took the young of their predators?" Vrel asked incredulously as we reviewed ancient human images showing early wolf domestication. "Not just took them," I replied, advancing through the historical timeline. "They selectively bred them over generations." Humans had identified and propagated traits in captured wolves that made them less aggressive toward humans and more willing to cooperate. Intelligence, pack loyalty, and hunting prowess, the very traits we had enhanced, became tools used by humans rather than against them. These first domesticated dogs served as guards, hunting partners, and eventually companions. The relationship had evolved over thousands of years. Modern dogs, the descendants of our perfect predators, now assisted humans in countless ways: herding livestock, providing security, detecting illness, supporting humans with disabilities, and offering emotional comfort. We need to observe more closely, I decided. Different environments, different human communities. Over the next several days, we deployed remote observation drones to human settlements across the planet. The canid-human relationship was universal, spanning all cultures and environments. In Arctic regions, large, heavy-coated canids helped pull sleds and find paths through snowstorms. In desert communities, lean, hardy breeds helped guard scarce resources. In urban centers, specialized canids assisted with security, search and rescue, and medical support. Most fascinating were the emotional bonds. Humans and canids communicated through a sophisticated system of vocalizations, body language, and mutual understanding developed over millennia of coevolution. The descendants of our perfect predators had become perfect companions, attuned to human emotions, protective of human young, integrated completely into human society. "This changes everything we thought we knew about interspecies relationships," I told Vrel as we prepared to return to our ship after a week of observations. "No species we've encountered has ever formed such a deep symbiotic bond with a former predator." "Should we inform the Council?" Vrel asked, her tone cautious. "Humans have clearly demonstrated even greater adaptive capacity than we feared. They're approaching interstellar capability. They turned our own biological weapon against us." I considered this as we made our final observation, visiting a human dwelling where a small gathering was taking place. Through the windows we could see multiple humans of varying ages, along with several canids. One image particularly caught my attention: a small human child sleeping on a cushioned surface, curled protectively against a large canid whose body was wrapped around the child, alert eyes watching over its human charge. "No," I replied, making my decision. "We will report that Earth remains uninhabitable due to residual effects from the biological agents. No follow-up missions recommended." Vrel's eyes widened, her luminescence patterns shifting to indicate alarm. "That directly violates Council protocols. Humans are expanding into space. They could encounter our colonies within centuries." I transferred the image of the child in canid to her console. "Look at this, Vrel. We sent the perfect predators to destroy them. Instead, humans did something no species we've ever encountered would have considered. They formed a bond with their predators. They found mutual benefit instead of mutual destruction." I gestured toward Earth through the view screen as we ascended back to orbit. Their history remains filled with violence and environmental mismanagement, yes, but also with remarkable capacity for connection. They've formed symbiotic relationships not just with canids, but with countless species on their world. Their civilizations rise and fall, but they keep trying to be better. "And if they find us? The species that tried to exterminate them?" Vrel asked. I considered this for a long moment. "Then I hope they'll do what they've shown they can do. Find a way to turn enemies into friends. Perhaps we could learn something from them." As our ship prepared for the return journey, I made one final entry in my personal log. "We sent wolves to Earth to kill all humans. The wolves became dogs that helped them live. In our arrogance, we tried to be their end. Instead, we may have given them one of the allies they needed to reach the stars. I find I cannot regret this outcome, even knowing the Council would consider it failure. Perhaps when humans join the galactic community, as they inevitably will, we will finally learn what they might teach us about connection across differences. And perhaps that is a lesson our species has needed all along. The blue planet receded as we engaged fold space drives. I had come seeking to understand a failed extinction. I was returning with something far more valuable, a new understanding of what adaptation and cooperation could achieve, and somehow, that felt like justice. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave it a like and to subscribe if you'd like to see more. Feel free to comment and share it as well. With all that said, go on and check out the video in the top left. I think you might like it.